Hi there, this is Alcon Raycon, and we are talking about the West Indies cricket tour to England. Mr. Johnny Gray, the Chief Secretary of the West Indies Cricket Board, had a lot of thinking to do before agreeing with the English board to have this three-test series. Eventually, it has worked itself out, and somewhere in the early part of July, we'll start this test series. Of course, there's a pre-match arrangement as well against Southampton. Now, what are the problems that exist here? In the first place, there's a lot of speculation as to whether players are allowed to make their own decisions, which I think they should be, simply because of the fact that it is not something that the West Indies Cricket Board can deal with other than the medical people across the world. And if there's nothing definite about their playing in England or anywhere else, I think the boards will have to respect it. No doubt Darren Bravo and Shimon Kitmire and Kemal Paul, they all decided that they are not going to go because of the disease, and they are going to miss their families. Well, the second part of it is one or the other. My feeling about it is simply because of the fact that this is going to be a tough course for the West Indies away from home with a bunch of youngsters. If you look at their batting performances and their batting averages, outside of Shai Hope, they're not very good. And one needs to worry a little bit about how will they think during the course of this series. With the virus still in the air, will they bypass it completely? Will they throw their minds away from it so that they can play cricket properly? I have my doubts about it, simply because of the fact that the whole world is standing and making sacrifices to avoid this disease spreading, not only in their country, but in any part of the world. The most important thing here is how do they cope with not only the virus, but the conditions in England. These youngsters have not played much in England, and they're playing in the early part of July. I would think that it is a little better than early June, because the June wickets would have been a little bit spongier and more difficult to deal with. They're a little bit faster in July, and especially on Old Trafford, you're going to get a wicket that is with bounce, but it's adventurous. It helps the fast bowlers all the time. Thankfully, the West Indies have some wonderful fast bowlers. There's no doubt about it. They have selected 14 players in the first instance, and they've taken 10 reserves with them. So you're talking about people like Kemar Roach and Raymond Rifa and Alzarri Joseph, and you've got one or two others who have done reasonably well. Now, are we banking heavily on it? We should, because Kemar Roach was just a magnificent bowler the last time they played against England. So I would think that he's the main man. If the English don't know Alzarri Joseph, you'd get used to him. He's pretty quick, he's pretty accurate. He's the type of bowler who wants to get wickets. He doesn't bowl many loose balls, so you're going to have to worry about it. In the case of spin bowlers, you've got Ruston Chase. He's not a bad bowler, but at the same time, those wickets don't help very much. What about the batting? I have my reservations, simply because of the fact that Jermaine Blackwood and Komura Bonner, they're youngsters. They're not very experienced in this business. And the man who's experienced is Craig Brathwaite. But he's got a lot of deficiencies in his opening batting. And I think the English will deal with it because they've seen him play before. Unless, of course, in the past 4 or 5 months, he's been working hard at all his problems. And maybe he will come. Temperamentally, he's very good. He works very hard. Whenever he scores a good set of runs, it takes a long time. But at this point in time, I think the England fast bowlers are also equally as good. So it's going to be a battle. The team that bats better will win the game. And I think that in this situation, England's got the stronger batters. Let's hope that the West Indies not only will dismiss the English batsmen quickly, but their batsmen can sit down and score at least 300, 320 runs in the innings. It's going to be an interesting one, but we'll have to wait and see.